of honor. This is the full military guard of honor on parade to be uh, over any moment from now. He will be moving from here to the Credentials Hall, where we expect that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will receive him. So I'll join you. And so, after the inspection of the parade, according to the program I have here, Prime Minister Mitchell will be leading his delegation to meet the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The two officials will have a brief conversation at the Credentials Hall, after which there will be a bilateral meeting between the two countries, Dramani Mahama. Other people will be joining. Let's take the anthems of the two countries as they wrap up, and we come over to give you some information about who is likely to be part of the bilateral meeting. The contingent, if the Ghana Navy Band Sub Lieutenant Gideon Pamford, the band commander Lieutenant Sub Lieutenant Anakwa, and the other officer on parade is Sub Lieutenant Na. They perform the drill. So as we speak, Ambassador Akins, who is the Director of State Protocol, is leading Prime Minister Mitchell to meet His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who is waiting to receive him before the two leaders will be moving towards the Credential Hall, where His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be hosting him. Today, as I shared with you, for those of you who joined this live broadcast earlier, the two countries are relatively the same. Ghana talks about the Black Star experience. Ghana's government talks about boosting tourism, and so the two will be interested here. So you see in your shot, Joyce Bawa Muktari. We also have Mr. Ajikum, Dr. Ekos Pio Gabra, also in short having exchanges with the visiting Prime Minister of Grenada. We have other officials from the two countries who are all lined up to receive him as he just inspected the Guard of Honor Far at your right side of your screens, you saw Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. These two officials, representing some sectors of the economies of the two countries, will be meeting shortly after President Mahama's brief tete-a-tete with the visiting Prime Minister. On our side, the information I have is that the Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Executive Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama, will be among those who will be participating in the bilateral meeting between the two countries. Later, a memorandum of understanding will be signed. So, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and then the visiting Prime Minister have just entered the countries, standing just by their flags. This is part of the ceremony. They'll be shaking hands, exchanging pleasantries just for the cameras. The photo opportunity has just been concluded. And so they walk to the Credentials Hall at the Presidency, where I believe that representatives of the two countries, ministers from both sides, will make some opening remarks before we wrap up our first part of the live coverage. There will be a state luncheon here at the banquet hall. The two countries will be signing a memorandum of understanding. I was making a reference to the two countries who will be represented at the bilateral meeting, but any moment from now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be making a brief opening statement, and we expect the Prime Minister of Grenada. Again, many people in that country are blacks. We have mixed race, a few Europeans. Many of them are into fishing, agriculture. They grow spices. And today we understand the Minister of Health. Listen to him now.
Thank you for your visit last year. This year I couldn't come to the African Caribbean Investment Forum because I had just been elected and I was busy forming my government, but we made sure we represented, at a high level at the forum. We MOUs that we have signed, one being the MOU on political consultation, and I'm happy that yesterday our two foreign ministers could sit and have that consultation so that based on the shared values that we have, we can take common positions at international meetings. And so we are happy that that took place yesterday. We also have the MOU on trade, culture, and education. And my hope is that your visit will deepen that even further. We have the MOU on visa waiver for each other's citizens, which is in operation. We've had a few complaints of a few Grenadian citizens holding another investment, but we're asking the Foreign Ministry to sort it out so that we can fully implement the visa waiver for all categories of passports, diplomatic service and ordinary passports. Our two citizens should be able to travel freely between each other, and so it's something that we'll work on to make sure that is fully implemented. Ghana happens to be the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And that was a very historic trade agreement that was signed, and so far more than 50 countries have ratified it. And so it allows us to export duty-free and tariff-free into each other's markets. And I believe it becomes an opportunity for African and Caribbean businesses to invest together to take advantage of a 1.3 billion population market and with a GDP of more than 3 trillion. And so we must find ways and means of bringing the two business communities together to create further investments. And so we're happy to welcome you, and we always welcome your visit, and I look forward to the opportunity to pay a visit back to Grenada in order that we cement the relationship even further. So you're welcome again.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and good morning to you and your esteemed delegate. Tracing on my maternal side, and it was traced to the Akan people of Ghana.
Yes.
So I think I could say the Akoba that was that was given to me yesterday, I think is a reflection of the homecoming that is deeply personal to me, but I think anecdotal to Grenada and the Caribbean. I'm not so sure the veracity of it, but I'm told 75% of the population of Grenada can trace its ancestry to Ghana. So I think for us, the very first African country I visited was Ghana. And I think, in a sense, it's a natural aligning of the stars, and as you say, of the deliberate use of the ocean as a bridge to make sure that we in the Caribbean can reconnect in a deliberate way with our roots, both politically, socially, culturally, and importantly, economically as well. Because oftentimes, while we welcome the conversations and the meeting, we recognize the importance of trade, because it's trade that, in fact, that is deliberate and looks after the well-being. And I appreciate you just came from China. It's an incredibly long way. And so for you to make time in your schedule to accommodate this visit is deeply appreciated. I want to start off right away by extending the reciprocity and by inviting Your Excellency to officially visit us in Grenada. I'm even tempted to propose the time, if your schedule will permit. The 1st of August is the day in which the British, at least in the British West Indies, finally accepted that the slave trade, and slavery in particular, was abhorrent and at least legally should come to an end. My government only this year re-emphasized by making the 1st of August a public holiday, because prior to that it was being celebrated on the first Monday of August rather than on the day itself. And we felt we wanted our younger generation to appreciate the significance of the day and to make sure they understand why I sometimes say that that day marks the beginning, in a sense, of our nation, because you can't have a nation where one human being owns another human being. So the day is of profound significance, and if your schedule will permit, and because I think it is some significant lead time, we'd love to welcome you to be with us on that day, because I think it demonstrates nations understand the struggle of Africans everywhere. And I say this in the context of knowing Ghana's leading role in the fight for reparations. It is something
may know was just resonating what many people will appreciate. Blacks are always blacks. Being a former colony of UK, Britain, to be specific, a member of the Commonwealth, gaining independence from uh, Britain just as recent as 1974, speaks about the relationships between the many blacks in that country. 75% of them are blacks, and Ghana, of course, likening their ancestral history to that of Ghana or Ghanaians, and talking about the need for reparations. President John Mahama is the African Union champion on reparations. So obviously, that is what has been ongoing at the Credentials Hall. So immediately after the engagement, the representatives of the two countries will be having a bilateral meeting. And so I mentioned Julius Debra, the Chief of Staff, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Dr. Callistus Mahama, Elizabeth Ofosu Ejare, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Kobna Minta Akando, who is the Minister for Health, Minister Kwacho Fosu, who is the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications. All of them will be part of this, and There will be a state luncheon at the banquet hall, which is part of this. So this is how we wrap up our live coverage of the military parade, which was inspected by the visiting Prime Minister Mitchell, about what will be happening. Thank you.